top the list. And now, ABC's Barbara Walters presents the 10 most fascinating people of 2015.
Tonight, Barbara Walters presents.
I am a good person, I swear to you. Like, I'm very old school. I think the guy should always pay on the first date for sex.
I'm going to ask you a simple question about sex.
Bring it.
Okay. Do you ever fake it?
What's your slogan? Make America great again.
If you lose the Republican nomination, are you a loser?
Tracy Morgan in critical condition tonight. He was injured in a multi-vehicle accident.
I just said, wow, I survived that crash for a reason.
Beautiful. Beautiful. She's hurt. She's hurt.
Every missed opportunity has been a blessing in disguise. Every injury has helped me.
Misty Copeland making history.
When I was about 7 years old, I woke up one morning and I did this thing with my arms and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened.
Many women see you as the perfect man. You are handsome, sensitive, kind. Tell me something awful about yourself.
The 10 most fascinating people of 2015.
What a list. Well, we're back with our roundup of the people we consider the most fascinating of the year. The criteria are the same as when we started in 1993. That is, 10 people who have achieved something remarkable this past year. No bad guys allowed, but people who are controversial, even shocking, are fine. And that nicely tees up our first choice. Hers is the comedy success story of the year. She has forged a bond with millions of young women and men who are struggling with dating and mating. Amy Schumer is funny, but that's not all she is, or even who she is. She is something far more complex, as I've learned.
So, my name is Amy, and I'm at the Apollo.
This is comedian Amy Schumer on her sex life.
I would say 50% in the relationships I initiate the sex, and then 50% we don't have it.
On sexual fulfillment.
It's not easy to give me an orgasm. It's not fun. I have to have the focus of an Olympic hopeful on a balance beam.
On getting a guy to use a condom.
I'll be like, you're going to want to wear this. I've had a busy month.
Amy Schumer's unique brand of raunchy feminism made her famous this year. She wrote and starred in her first feature film, the hit romantic comedy, Trainwreck.
I think we really like each other and we should start dating.
No.
She won an Emmy, a Peabody, and skit after skit from her sketch comedy show Inside Amy Schumer on Comedy Central went viral. She imagined defending Bill Cosby in a trial.
Would anybody like a pudding pop? Oh, wow, would you look at that? It's unanimous.
Parodied the movie 12 Angry Men.
Gentlemen, raise your hands if you think that Amy Schumer is not hot enough to be on television. 1, 2, 3, 11. That's 11 votes.
And ridiculed the pressure on women to look good. In fact, she often mocks herself for not looking like a model.
And like this guy just came up to me and he's like, hey, I like you. You're sturdy. Don't I feel like the belle of the ball?
You are a very good-looking woman.
Barbara?
Yes, I mean, I've seen you on the air, but you don't like your looks.
I think I make fun of how I think the world and how Hollywood sees me, which is heavier than most actresses, and I'm not a model, and I don't feel apologetic about that. I feel good naked. I feel like when I take my clothes off, like saying you're welcome.
You have been called so honest, an honesty bomb. So I'm going to ask you a simple question about sex to see how honest you are.
Bring it.
Okay. Do you ever fake it?
Yeah. I really prefer if I'm having sex with someone.
Amy explained her sexual experience in more detail than I expected or am allowed to share.
Yeah, and so I'll fake it. That's a way to say, wrap it up.
Yeah, go home. been making people laugh since she was a child. She was born Amy Susan Schumer in 1981, the middle of 3 children. When Amy was 9, her father was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Did that affect you very much?
Yeah, it was awful. It was just confusing to me, especially the way MS works. He was in physical pain. That's when I kind of took the lead and took care of everybody in my family. I would keep everybody laughing and...
Still?
Yeah, still. I'm the one who ties it all together.
How is your father now?
He's not good. Some days he's really good and he's with it and we're joking around, and some days I go visit my dad and it's so painful. I can't even believe it. Most times we all just laugh.
Amy majored in drama in college. Her goal was to be an actress. She did her first stand-up when she was 21. She spent the next 10 years on the road, honing her act, finding her voice. Her first big break was Last Comic Standing, a talent competition.
Anybody ever date an actor? I know. I know. They're all like pretending to be straight, and it's like, okay.
She came in 4th.
Guys, thank you so much.
That led to a high-profile Comedy Central roast.
Mike Tyson. Am I saying that right?
Look at you good.
Is his interpreter here?
But being in the spotlight has also brought tragedy.
Theater goers were watching her movie Trainwreck when the gunfire broke out.
This summer, a gunman shot 9 and killed 2 people at a theater showing her movie. Amy teamed up with her cousin, New York Senator Chuck Schumer, to advocate for stricter background checks on gun buyers.
When I heard about this news, I was completely devastated, and I wanted to just go down to Louisiana. And then I was angry. Knowing it was my movie, I did feel some distant sense of responsibility. Did this animal seek out my movie? And from the way he felt about women, it sounds like he did. It's just, if I can help at all, I'm gonna try.
Where do you see yourself, or want to see yourself in 10 years?
I don't know. I really don't know. I want to be, you know, expressing myself creatively somehow. I'm a director, a producer.
You did not say married. You did not say a mother.
Yeah. Well, that's what came out. I would love those things, but I don't see it. I don't really see it for myself. I hope that happens, but I don't know how realistic it is.
If you could be very beautiful, very rich, or very brilliant, what would you take?
I'm doing all of that.
She said modestly. Yeah.
I think we have a chance to make America greater than ever before.
If you are president.
Only if I'm president.
You think there will be a President Sanders?
I think there is a very good chance there will be a President Sanders.
Are you a mama's boy?
Oh, yeah. Proudly.
And who will be the most fascinating person of the year?
It's been 2 years since...
See.
When we made our next pick, we knew there would be controversy. After all, controversy sticks to this man like hairspray. But he is a fascinating person, and if you don't believe it, just ask him. Whether Donald Trump will become president or even his party's nominee is still in doubt. What isn't in doubt is that some of the things he has said over the past 6 months have framed this election so far and may ultimately decide it. Donald Trump talks a lot about winning. He's a winner.
We will have so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning.
And he wants America to be a winner.
We need somebody that can take the brand of the United States and make it great again.
And this year, that message resonated. Did you just wake up one day and say, I'd like to be president?
I look at what's happening with our country. I look at the stupidity of our leadership. I look at the decisions that are made that are so bad, and I just felt I had to do it.
There are up to 7 million Muslim Americans. Do you regret at all your proposed ban on Muslims coming to America?
Not at all. First of all, it's not a ban long term. This country, our country, has to get its act together. One thing I have to say, I have tremendous friendships in the Muslim community, tremendous relationships. They're great people, but we have to get smart. And the people that I know in the Muslim community agree with me.
Are you a bigot?
Not at all. Probably the least of anybody you've ever met.
There was a recent mass shooting in San Bernardino. It seems with a link to ISIS. You have said that guns should be carried to fight back against terrorism. Wouldn't that produce more violence?
Much less. Look, I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment. The bad guys will always have guns, Barbara. So Paris, boom, boom, boom. If you look at California, nobody had guns except the bad guys. If you had 3 or 4 people like me, I have the right to carry. I have a license to carry. If you had people like me in that room and somebody starts shooting, I guarantee you, we're going down shooting.
You are carrying a gun now?
No, not now.
Ordinarily, do you carry a gun?
A lot of the time. I have the right to carry.
You have said that Hillary Clinton does not have enough energy to be president, but you and she are about the same age.
Right.
So, what?
I have a lot of energy. Look, she doesn't have the strength or the stamina.
Her people would argue, as Secretary of State, and even now she travels all over the world, she speaks everywhere. Is it because she's a woman?
Really. If you look at
saying?
Hillary, she'll do an event, and then she goes back home and she goes to sleep. I mean, you don't see her.
You don't know that.
I think so, though. I think so.
Well, are you sure that you can beat Hillary Clinton?
I think I will beat Hillary very easily. She was a terrible Secretary of State. The world blew up around her. I'm leading in the polls, and I think I'll beat her.
You have said that if you don't win the presidency, this is all a waste of time.
Correct. If I don't win, I wasted my time. It's all about winning, because I won't be able to put my ideas into play. Politicians, I've dealt with them all my life, they don't have it. They will never be able to straighten out China. We're losing, in terms of trade imbalance, $400 billion a year with China. They can't do anything about it. I know exactly how to solve the problem.
If you lose the Republican nomination, are you a loser?
Certain way, yeah. Hate to say it. If I lost the nomination, yeah, I guess I'd call myself a loser. I've never said that about myself before. Look, I want to win. I want to make America great again. If I lose the nomination, not so good.
Let's say you become the president. When you leave office, in one word, what would you like your legacy to be?
A victory.
Before the accident, you said, if you think about it, I really shouldn't be here at all. Why do you think you're still here?
And can you guess the most fascinating person of the year?
Welcome back. The word accident is defined as something unplanned, an unfortunate event that results in damage or injury. Tracy Morgan recently had an appointment with fate, but his comeback is no accident. It's an affirmation of the healing power of laughter.
Tracy Morgan in critical condition tonight at a New Jersey hospital. He was injured in a
Morgan was traveling in a limo bus that overturned early this morning.
Police still working to learn what exactly caused that accident.
June 7th, 2014. Tracy Morgan and 3 other passengers are making their way home to New Jersey after a comedy gig in a Delaware casino.
No, I don't remember any of it. And my doctor said you don't want to remember it.
Behind them, a big rig traveling full throttle. Behind the wheel, a driver, sleepy from too many miles without a break. His Walmart tractor trailer crashes into Tracy's limousine van, leaving his close friend, comedian Jimmy Mack, dead.
The pain of losing my friend will always be there. I know he's in a better place.
Tracy was in a coma for 8 days.
The first night it happened, my wife got to the hospital. And the doctors told her, we don't know if he's coming out of this coma. But when I first came out of the coma, I was blind for a week.
Broken bones, a brain injury. I see scars, do I not, on your forehead?
Yeah, this is from the damage from the brain.
There were whispers that Tracy was finished. He wouldn't work again, even walk again. The healing was slow and painful. He spent 5 months in a wheelchair and immersed himself in therapy for brain and body. What was your lowest point?
Sitting home, I think the lowest point got for me when I wasn't at 40th anniversary and I knew I couldn't be there.
It's Saturday Night Live.
I wasn't ready.
I wish my friend Tracy Morgan was here tonight, and I know that he was hoping that he would be well enough to be here too. If he were here tonight, I'm sure Tracy would remind us that more than anything, he would like to get us all pregnant.
How's your recovery coming? And
Fighting every day.
Fighting every day?
I survived that crash for a reason. I'm still here for a reason. I guess my room wasn't ready.
What do you think the reason is?
Who knows? Maybe he kept me here to raise my daughter and raise my family.
Family was not always Tracy's focus. He is one of 5 children from a broken home.
I lived in Brooklyn for about 11 years of my life, born and raised there. And then I went to my dad because I knew I needed him.
Because?
I didn't want to become a statistic to the gangs and the drugs. I know my mother loved me, but she don't, excuse my French, but she don't pee standing up. I needed that to show me how to be.
Everybody in jail do that same hard jail walk.
To cope with life on the street, he had already developed a unique persona. Man-child meets devilish imp.
Not me, man. I went to jail. They thought I was on medication.
Where this character ends and the real Tracy begins is the key to his success. You play someone who is a little bit spacey? Are you a little bit spacey?
Yeah, cool. Yeah. We need that.
Where do you
we need people that are a little bit spacey in this place.
Where do you put your head when you're being a little bit spacey?
Well, sometimes I'm not a little boy. Sometimes I'm not a teenager. Sometimes I'm not young adult. Sometimes I'm me.
Hi, my name is Tracy Morgan. I'd like to introduce you to one of my friends. His name is Biscuit. He's 8 years old, lives in the projects, weighs 200 pounds, and he has an attitude.
In 1996, 2 big things happened to Tracy. This audition got him a job at Saturday Night Live.
Hi, my name is Biscuit.
And he got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. One of these things he handled very well. And over 7 seasons, he perfected a funny and bizarre collection of characters.
I'm Bishop Don McDonald, and you're watching Pimp Chat. I'm Brian Fellow. Now, I am a lawyer.
After SNL, he was scooped up by his pal, Tina Fey, to star in her new show, 30 Rock.
I am a Jedi!
He played a comedy superstar who's pretty much out of his mind.
I'll have an apple juice.
Oh, we don't have apple juice, sir.
Then I'll take a vodka and tonic.
It wasn't all an act. Tracy struggled with alcoholism through the first 2 seasons.
What's up, America?
And if the booze didn't get him, the diabetes he was ignoring probably would. Loved ones and co-workers stepped in, and Tracy stepped up.
Do you know who I am? Seriously, please tell me who I am.
All of this explains why Tracy used to say, I shouldn't even be here. And that was before the accident. On August 23rd of this year, Tracy married Megan Wallover. Their 2-year-old daughter, Maven, attended the ceremony. Shortly after that, he made 2 dramatic public appearances, first at the Emmys in September.
Only recently I've started to feel like myself again, so, which means a whole lot of y'all women gonna get pregnant at the after party. I'm Brian Fellows.
And then he came home again, hosting Saturday Night Live in October.
People were wondering, can he speak? Does he have 100% mental capacity? But the truth is, I never did.
You feel 100%?
Yeah.
Well,
hey, listen, this is what my grandmother said. If God can get you to it, he'll get you through it. And anyone who hasn't spent 8 days in a coma can't tell me nothing. Because I got closer to God than anybody on this planet. So when I came out on Saturday Night Live that night, and I came out on the stage that night, I just seen people standing up and like, yes, yes, And that right there, I got to give him everything. Got to give him everything.
7 years ago, you wrote, "There are two things that will get you through life. They are laughter and learning." What about love?
Love is there. If you ain't got no love, you ain't got no life. And you damn sure ain't gonna have no laughter.
You have four
You want to know what happiness is?
Yes, please. I would love to know what
Simple
happiness is. Okay, what is it?
Simply having something to look forward to. Happiness. Think about it. What you got to look forward to, you smile. And that's where your happiness lies.
What are you looking forward to?
To grabbing the mic, to going home and seeing my daughter and my wife. All of that makes me smile. So that makes me happy.
And by the way, Tracy told us that he was completely satisfied with the accident settlement with Walmart and that Jimmy Mack's family has been fairly compensated. Tracy's new comedy tour, entitled Tracy Morgan Picking Up the Pieces, starts in February. It is said that you don't have a ballerina's body. What's missing?
Plus, who will be chosen most fascinating?
We're back. Our next guest is an artist and an athlete, a trailblazer in a tutu, presenting principal ballerina Misty Copeland. Misty Copeland has the graceful arms, the long extension, and the strong, supple feet of a classic ballerina. There is one thing most ballerinas have that Misty doesn't: white skin. Black ballerinas like Misty are rare. This year, she became American Ballet Theater's first ever black principal ballerina. She won the title after years of criticism. It is said that you don't have a ballerina's body. What's missing?
I think it's something that people say when they don't want to say you have the wrong skin color for ballet.
Really? So what do they say?
My legs are too muscular. I shouldn't be seen in a tutu. My bust is too big.
So what are you doing out there anyway? Yeah. Misty Copeland is not your conventional ballerina in lots of ways. Her commercial for Under Armour went viral in 2014. She was the subject of a documentary, A Ballerina's Tale, did a commercial for BlackBerry, and appeared in a Broadway musical, On the Town. If her resume is unusual, her path to becoming a ballerina is beyond unusual. A series of near catastrophes that Misty somehow serenely soared above. She was born in Kansas City in 1982, the youngest of four. After a divorce, the family moved to California when she was a toddler. Before Misty was 13, she would move 6 times. There were 2 stepfathers and 2 new siblings. Misty was the quiet one, lost in the crowd of her family. I want to read to you some words that you used to describe yourself as a child. Shy, introverted, worried, uneasy, nervous, anxious. About what?
Life.
As a teenager, you would get to school an hour early so you wouldn't be late. I mean, this tremendous anxiety, is that still part of you?
I think the environment I grew up in and being a middle child, it didn't force me to step out of my shell or have to stand up for myself or have to have a voice. I was just always afraid of what people thought of me and of failing.
In 1995, the family reached a low point, living on food stamps in one room in this welfare motel. It was then, at a teacher's suggestion, that Misty went to a ballet class at the Boys and Girls Club. She was a natural, a prodigy. Misty was on point in 3 months. Soon, she was performing, and she loved it. When you get on a stage, what happens to you?
I transform. It's something that's happened to me from day one. It was like I was in this bubble, and no one could touch me.
How would you describe ballet?
I would say that it is a full body, mind, spirit experience. The ballet is the ballerina.
Ballet took up much of Misty's time, so her teacher, Cynthia Bradley, invited Misty to live with her and her family.
I don't think I'd ever really been in an environment like that was very calm and structured. And it made me think, this is what is normal. And this is what I should have. I should have my own room. I shouldn't have to sleep on, a floor of a motel with my 5 siblings.
When Misty was 15, a legal battle between her mother and teacher broke out over whom Misty would live with. Misty's mother took her case to the Court of Public Opinion, the Lisa Gibbons Show.
This is my daughter. You don't have any say-so over anything. Talk what you know.
The only reason we came here is because we felt we had to be heard if you were on this show.
Misty, everybody here is looking at you and the pain on your face and talking about you. How hard is this?
It's very hard. But I can't do anything about that.
I felt like I was being exposed for all of these people to be finding out about my personal life on television, and I just wasn't prepared for that.
In the end, Misty returned to her mother and began classes with another teacher. After successfully auditioning, she joined American Ballet Theater after high school. At 24, she became a soloist. But while her talent was clear to everyone, she seemed stuck at that position, always the supporting actress, never the star. In 2012, she got her big break, dancing the lead in Firebird, a huge success. Then she made history as ABT's first black principal ballerina. Do you think that you have changed some people's perception?
Yes, I do. I think that for a very long time, people put African-American dancers in a box that they weren't capable of doing classical ballet. Their feet were too flat. Their legs were too muscular. They just didn't fit the mold. And I think that I have changed that perception for a lot of people.
You're a star now. Do you still experience racism?
Yes. I don't think that's something I could ever change, but yes, I do experience it.
You are changing it already.
Yes.
Finish this sentence for me. Misty Copeland is...
strong.
And graceful, and talented, and a prima ballerina.
I mean, I've fought thousands of matches in my life. About 99% of them I've been booed.
If Hillary Clinton becomes president, how would you dress her?
I've been thinking about that. I really have.
We're getting closer. Who will be the most fascinating person of the year?
For adult, January 6th on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
Moving on. Mixed martial arts is described as a full contact combat sport with rules like no biting and no eye gouging. There's no hair pulling either, but that goes without saying, doesn't it? So just a month ago, the most famous ultimate fighting champion in the world, Ronda Rousey, lost her first fight in a shocking upset. So why are we still focused on Ronda and not the winner? Just watch.
The popular and undefeated Strikeforce Bantamweight Women's World Champion,
Ronda Rousey is ferocious. She's been called the best female athlete ever. But her accomplishments defy gender. In fact, she makes more money than any UFC fighter, male or female. When she enters an arena before a fight, she says she feels like Superman stepping out of his phone booth. But even Superman has his kryptonite. Ronda's came in the form of a preacher's daughter from Albuquerque named Holly Holm. Vegas put the odds at 12-1 in favor of Rousey, and all it took was one kick.
Beautiful. Beautiful. She's hurt. Is in trouble. She's hurt. Holly looking to finish.
She spent the night in the hospital. Just like that, the superhero became human once again.
All the best things of my life have happened as a direct result of the worst things ever happened, and every missed opportunity has been a blessing in disguise.
If you'd never seen a Ronda Rousey fight before that one, you might wonder what all the fuss was about. Want to see one now? Have you got 14 seconds?
Ronda wants to make it happen quickly. She gave There's the arm. She gave it is all over. Just my God. Like that.
That's all she wrote. In 1 year, she went from Ronda Who to feminist folk hero.
Please welcome Ronda Rousey.
She is the toast of talk shows.
Okay, ready?
No.
Twist her arm and she'll show you how she twists arms.
Yeah, all right. Rumpelstiltskin, all right, good. Rumpelstiltskin.
She's called the Arm Collector. Her arm bar move is said to be so painful that once she collects yours, game over.
She's running for it.
Women, she says, fight for different reasons than men. For women, it's meaner, more vicious, a blood sport. And for Ronda, every fight is personal. It's been a fight from the beginning. An umbilical cord wrapped around her neck at birth gave her apraxia, a disorder that made it impossible for her to form intelligible sentences for her first 6 years. She was named Ronda after her dad, Ron, who suffered deteriorating health after he broke his back in a sledding accident near their home in North Dakota. When Ronda was 8, he killed himself.
It was hard, and he was gone and we were alone. If there's one thing about my backstory that is the most well-known fact, it's about what happened with my father, and it's still hard for me to talk about. It's still like an open wound for us, you know?
Her mother, Anne Maria, had been a judo champion. Here she is at the 1983 Pan American Games. She became Ronda's trainer and gave her daughter the eye of the tigress.
My first injury was I broke my big toe. And she was like, you got 9 other toes. Tell me when you got 1 left.
Ronda wanted to be an Olympian in judo, qualified for the 2008 Games, and won a bronze medal. Most would have celebrated. Ronda was heartbroken.
Missing out on Olympic gold is what keeps me motivated to come back and defend my belt over and over and over again.
Her dream didn't die that day, it changed. At age 22, she switched to mixed martial arts, a fast-growing sport that is both dangerous and brutal. From this Sports Illustrated glamour shoot, you can see why Hollywood is calling.
Hey. Just wanted to say thanks.
They're going to make her an action star. That's okay with her. They also want her to lose weight, be a little more feminine. Imagine how that meeting went.
Just because my body was developed for a purpose doesn't mean it's masculine. I think it's femininely badass as because there's not a single muscle on my body that isn't for a purpose, because I'm not a do-nothing bitch.
No doubt about that. Ronda always had something to prove to herself. But now she has something to prove to the world and to the preacher's daughter. A rematch is inevitable, and I wouldn't count her out. After all, Ronda fights for a different reason, and she has redefined what it means to fight like a girl. We continue. In the 23 years we have been doing this special, we've never picked a fashion designer before. I'm not sure why, but I know exactly why we are doing one now. As she stepped down this year from her famous label, we thought it was time to look at Donna Karan's impact on the world of fashion. Donna Karan dresses everyone from red carpet royalty to presidents then and maybe now. But Donna Karan isn't just a designer. She is a game changer. In the 1980s, when women wore this to work, she revolutionized how women dressed in clothes that were sleeker, more sensual, and way more comfortable. I got some clothes from Donna when she was just starting out.
I sent you an outfit, and I said, well, oh my God, you look fabulous. How do you feel? And you said, I've never felt so uncomfortable in my life, and started taking off all these layers. I almost had a heart attack right then and there.
Donna Karan went on to build a $3 billion empire, selling everything from clothing to cologne, housewares to hosiery. But this year, when Karen walked down the runway of her spring show, no one realized it would be the last time. She stepped down as lead designer of her namesake brand to focus on her Urban Zen Foundation, which supports artists, healthcare, and education in countries like Haiti. Where are you at this point in your life?
Right now, I'm looking at the next phase, but I'm also looking at myself and what do I want?
Donna was born 67 years ago in Queens, New York. Fashion was in her genes. Her father, a custom tailor, her mother, a model. But Donna's childhood was far from ideal, something she shares in her new memoir, My Journey. You say that your childhood, I'm quoting, was lonely and traumatic. Why?
Well, my father died when I was 3 years old, and my mother, being a working woman, I felt very lonely. Coming from a working woman's family, I promised that I would never have a child and work.
That isn't quite what happened. She had risen rapidly working for legendary designer Anne Klein when she got pregnant by her first husband, Mark Karen. Her daughter Gabby was born the same week Anne Klein died. Donna, then just 25, was left in charge.
There I was, the woman who would never be a working woman, back at work in 1 week, and a collection due.
In 1984, in a cramped showroom, she started her own line, which led to her more affordable casual brand, DKNY. Her collections simplified an entire wardrobe into 7 easy pieces.
And they are. It was the bodysuit, the wrap and tie skirt, a pair of pants, a sweater, a leather jacket, and a scarf.
Karen's partner in life and work was her second husband, artist Stephen Weiss. You met the love of your life, Stephen Weiss, while married to somebody else. You want to tell me about that?
It was just around my engagement, and he walked into the room, and I fell head over heels in love with him. But he was married, and he had 2 children, and it just wasn't the right time. And the time was right 10 years later, and we got back together again.
For 10 years you didn't see him, then you saw him, and that was it?
Well, no, we would see each other once in a while.
Oh? Should I go further?
No, it's okay.
They were married for 18 years until Stephen's death from lung cancer in 2001.
At that moment, I was cut in half. I was not complete.
These days, Donna is completed another way, combining fashion and philanthropy with urban zen. No longer running one of America's biggest brands, but still dreaming big.
I feel much more centered, much more grounded, and much clearer. I mean, I should hope so at my age.
I don't want to insult you, but if you were creating the perfect candidate, it probably would not be you.
You're not insulting me.
Well,
I agree with you, Barbara.
4 more to go before the big surprise.
You know, Viagra.
Welcome back. If you were to predict which candidate was going to capture the hearts and minds of young America, you would obviously pick a 74-year-old Jewish grandfather, right? While Bernie Sanders is reaching young voters by employing a disarming, seldom-seen tactic in American politics: authenticity. When Bernie Sanders announced his candidacy, no one expected the socialist senator from Vermont to pose a threat to frontrunner Hillary Clinton. But his campaign took off. His views on income inequality struck a chord with voters.
The great middle class of America, once the envy of the entire world, has been disappearing.
In Iowa and New Hampshire, he is up in the polls and could win those states. Suddenly, a lot of people are feeling the burn. I don't want to insult you, but if you were creating the perfect candidate, it probably would not be you.
You're not insulting me.
Well,
I agree with you.
You would be younger. You might be better looking.
Now you're insulting me, Bob. I would tend to agree with you, 100%.
So, Did you wake up one day and say, I can do better?
What I woke up one day and said is, we need a political revolution. We need to bring millions of people into the political process to demand that the government represents all of us, not just the wealthiest people in this country. And that's what our campaign is trying to do.
You grew up in a home where your parents argued about money because there wasn't enough.
Yes.
Tell me about that. What was the atmosphere?
My dad came to this country at the age of 17 without any money.
From
Poland.
Poland.
And my mother had dreams. You know, one of her big dreams was she wanted to own a home of her own, small home, rather than rent. My dad worked all of the time, but he never made a lot of money. So there was always pressure in the family and constant bickering. When you're a kid, you pick up on that.
Did this lack of money, this arguing about money, shape your policies?
Absolutely. When you don't have a lot of money, your family lives under stress. That's happening all over America today, and that's a lesson that I have never forgotten, and I hope that I never will forget.
Are you concerned at all that Muslims in this country are beginning to get a bad rap?
I am very concerned that people are taking out their anger against fellow Americans who happen to be Muslim. If you're Muslim and you read the newspapers and you read what people are saying, you know what? You're going to be scared too, and that's not what we should be having here in the United States of America. Our people have got to stand together to take on the real issues, stand together to destroy ISIS, but not start picking on immigrants and scapegoating Muslims.
What would you do about ISIS?
ISIS is a barbaric organization that must be destroyed, but we must learn the lessons of Iraq. So what do? We form a coalition, and other Muslim nations have got to have troops on the ground to destroy ISIS. That fight has got to be led by the Muslim nations with the strong support of the United States, the UK, France, Russia, Iran, etc. I do not want us getting sucked in to what ISIS wants us to get sucked into, what they call a war of civilization here.
You have said that you are a socialist.
Democratic socialist, yes.
Okay. Just what is that?
Barbara, what I see is every other major country on earth now provides health care to all of their people as a right, all of their people. We still don't do that. We are the only country on earth that doesn't provide paid family.
Are you against capitalism?
No, I'm for the concept of a mixed economy, similar to what you see in Scandinavia. I mean, they produce a lot of wealth, they create a whole lot of products. But what they do a lot better than we do is that wealth is much more equitably distributed than it is in this country.
If you are elected president, in one word, what would you want to be known for?
Compassion.
Moving on. The businessman you are about to meet could have been on this list any of the past 10 years. It just seemed like this year, when you heard the word Amazon, the last thing that came to mind was a river in South America. 51-year-old Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is remaking the world marketplace in his own image. Jeff Bezos wants your business. Actually, he probably already has your business. 250 million people around the world are Amazon.com customers, a number that is growing daily. You can get nearly anything you want from Amazon. Diapers, donuts, dishwashers. Do you need to blow your leaves, blow your hair dry, blow a poison dart, or blow your nose? Amazon has over 2 billion products. It sells over $61 billion worth of merchandise a year. It is the 8th largest retail business on Earth, and Bezos is not done building it yet. Bezos himself is worth $55 billion, the 5th richest man in the world. What kind of person could dream this up? A very smart, very driven person. But the most important thing to know about Bezos is that he thinks outside the box. Bezos was always like that. He went to a school for gifted children in Houston, where he stood out with his precocious passion for data.
I was a very lucky kid. I was inspired by invention, and I think when little kids get inspired, you never know what might happen.
He went on to Princeton to study theoretical physics before switching to computer science. After graduating, he worked at a Manhattan hedge fund. There he met his wife, Mackenzie. In 1994, Bezos noticed something obvious that most people didn't notice.
I came across the startling statistic that web usage was growing at 2,300% a year.
He envisioned a store built on the internet that one day would sell everything. Its name would be
www.amazon.com.
To Bezos, it was obvious what item to start with: books. He priced his books lower than anyone else. For years, Amazon didn't turn a profit.
Well, Amazon.com was actually profitable in December 1995. It must have been for, about 1 hour.
But to Bezos, it was obvious that expanding was more important than profit. Goods were stored in giant warehouses dotting the country. He called them fulfillment centers. The result? No matter where you live, you can get a CD or a blender or an elliptical trainer that you'll never use almost right away. In 2007, Bezos created the Kindle, which promised to either revolutionize reading or destroy publishing and bookstores. Book lovers are not the only people unhappy with Amazon. Critics say that Amazon uses many fewer workers than physical stores do, raising the question, if people don't have jobs, how will they pay for things from Amazon? But Jeff Bezos is an unstoppable force. He has invested $2 billion in India, introduced the idea of delivery by drone, and this year he got his rocket. Yes, he owns a rocket ship company, of course, off the ground. There's no question Jeff Bezos is a brilliant business visionary. But you could ask, do we really need all these things delivered to us instantly? To Jeff Bezos, the answer is obvious. In fact, his greatest genius may be that he has figured out better than anyone else how to give us what we want. You were not married.
No.
But you were wearing...
Yeah, that's his ring, yeah.
Your father's wedding ring.
Yeah.
One more than the most fascinating person.
We're back. Our next guest is considered one of the savviest actors in Hollywood. He is well respected, well paid, and, well, nice. Bradley Cooper has that regular guy story that makes you believe good things happen to good people as long as they fight the good fight. First of all, Bradley Cooper is your real name.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I always wanted to be Charlie Cooper. My dad's name was Charlie. His father, my grandfather, was Charlie. I love that name.
I wanted to be called Babs Elliott. If I call you Charlie...
I'll call you Babs and you call me Charlie.
Okay.
Done.
There's an old formula for the perfect matinee idol. Men want to be him. Women want to be with him. Handsome, but not too. And that intangible that makes you feel like you know this guy off camera, and he's all right. If there is a race for male superstar of this generation, Bradley Cooper is the leading man.
You got eyes on this? Can you confirm?
And what a year for Mr. Cooper.
All clear.
American Sniper, directed by Clint Eastwood, breaks box office records in January. He's nominated for an Oscar for the same role in February. He throws his name behind a TV adaptation of his movie Limitless in September.
Service.
Releases his passion project Burnt in October. And he has a fourth Carlton movie with Jennifer Lawrence coming out on Christmas Day. Joy.
Do you know what QVC stands for, Joy?
No, I don't.
Quality, value, convenience.
Many women see you as the perfect man. Tell me something awful about yourself.
I can be obsessive, I think.
Well,
I also like to talk about things. But I grew up in a family of people arguing at the dinner table. I grew up in a very, no, it wasn't a shy group.
40 years ago, Bradley Charles Cooper was born in Philadelphia, the second child of a stockbroker and a homemaker. It was a good childhood. Lots of faith, football, and family dinners.
As we get older, we realize how we were just talking about it yesterday, actually. My mom said, you know, we were really very lucky. I loved waking up in my family, and that's not always the case.
No. When he was 12, young Bradley saw the film The Elephant Man, the heartbreaking true story of the inhumane treatment of a grotesquely deformed man in Victorian England. It changed.
Floored me. First of all, I was devastated by it. I couldn't stop crying.
I am not an animal!
My father sat me down and said, let's look at this movie.
Did he want you to be an actor?
No, he just wanted to share his love of cinema.
You were so close to your father, and he died not that many years ago.
Yeah, 2011. Yeah. I dreamt about him last night. It's so funny you said that. I woke up this morning, I was so happy he was in my dream last night. It was just like a beautiful little moment.
How you doing, Mr. De Niro? My name is Bradley Cooper. My question is regarding Awakenings.
His father had a profound influence. After college, Bradley took out a $70,000 loan and enrolled in the Actors Studio.
Hey, Mr. Penn. My name is Bradley Cooper. I'm a second-year actor.
You can still see him playing the role of curious student in reruns.
Hey.
Bradley worked a lot, but he was a type. Rich, spoiled, shallow.
We're going to be on the field in 10.
Remember that snotty guy you really hated in the Wedding Crashers? Yeah, that was Bradley.
Big tree fall hard.
Something was holding him back.
Hey, Mary. I'm Steve.
So when he got passed over for yet another big role, he asked his agent why.
I said, hey, have we ever heard back from the movie? And then the person said, yeah, we did. Yeah, not good. Yeah, the feedback was, you're not really
I think we have to bleep that. Yeah. Or to translate, I don't know whether they have to bleep this as well. You're unbelievable.
Yeah, I like
People,
that.
Yeah. So how do you go from being unbelievable to being the sexiest man alive?
You tell me. I have no idea. Obviously, there's something afoot.
There were nights the four of us will never forget.
Yes, something was afoot. Thank Jack Black and Paul Rudd for passing on a role in The Hangover, leaving a virtual unknown to win by default.
We can't find Doug.
We're getting married in 5 hours.
Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Am I missing a tooth?
The Hangover made a fortune and made Bradley Cooper into a household name. The title of the movie, it turns out, is dripping with irony.
I don't think I've ever been this hungover.
In your late 20s, you stopped drinking.
Stopped drinking, yeah.
Very difficult?
No, beautiful. Unbelievable.
Better.
Oh, are you kidding? I would never be sitting here with you. No way, no chance.
Because?
Because I wouldn't have been able to have access to myself or other people, or even been able to take in other people if I hadn't changed my life. No way. And I never would have been able to have relationships that I do. I never would have been able to take care of my father the way I did when he was sick. So many things.
Hey! Whoa, hey! He has been nominated for an Oscar 3 times. At this stage, Bradley winning one of the little fellows seems more a question of when than if. And coming full circle, last year, he even got to play the Elephant Man on Broadway. Bradley lives with his mother these days. She moved in with him after the death of his father, the man who introduced him to movies. You were not married.
No.
But you were wearing...
Yeah, that's his ring, yeah.
Your father's wedding ring.
Yeah.
Would he be very pleased today to see you and to know what you're doing and what you've become?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah, I think he wouldn't believe it. I really wish, I mean, thank God he was alive for so many of the successes, but like the Clint Eastwood thing, he would have really loved. That was one of his heroes.
Can you do him for me, Clint Eastwood?
Sure.
Okay.
What should we do?
It's up to you, Charlie. I mean, Clint.
Gotta say, Barbara, you're looking really good. When was the last time we saw each other? 1981, maybe. Oh, no, it was for that musical, Jersey Boys. I remember that day I was a little shy because you looked so sexy, but maybe I get a shot now.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I really did. Thank you, Bradley. Thanks. Charlie, whatever you want to be is okay with me, okay? And before we announce the most fascinating person of the year, I have an apology of sorts. We have in the past profiled famous couples, Brangelina, Bennifer, and so on. We did not do a tribute this year to the breakup of the century, Piggy and Kermit, or Kermit, as I call them. I think she is just now getting the news.
Barbara, I want to thank you for honoring me as star of the ABC series The Muppets.
Miss Piggy.
Not now, Deadly. I'm practicing thanking Barbara for naming me her most fascinating person.
Miss Piggy, I'm afraid you didn't make the list.
What? What? This is an outrage! There must be some mistake when Barbara finds out!
Who wants to go shoe shopping?
Oh, me! I do! I want to go shopping for shoes. Should I go get the car? I'll go get the car.
Trust me, Barbara. She'll enjoy this more anyway.
Deadly!
Coming, Miss Piggy!
She never ages. What is her secret? Well, this is it. When we return, the most fascinating person of 2015.
Next attendant.
And finally, our choice for the most fascinating person of the year was once called the world's greatest athlete. Traditionally, that title was given to the man who won the Olympic decathlon. When Bruce Jenner won it in 1976, it was a huge accomplishment. It had everybody talking. But it was nothing like this. When Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner, there was a seismic shift in the gender universe. If you found yourself unable to take your eyes off Caitlyn Jenner this year, you weren't alone. The transformation of Bruce Jenner, who performed heroic feats of endurance in winning the Olympic gold medal for the decathlon, into Caitlyn Jenner, who performed heroic feats involving hair extensions and eye makeup, was fascinating. Jenner explained it this way.
For years and years, I never felt like I fit in anywhere. I always felt as an outsider. I never felt good in the male side, and I wasn't obviously in the female side. I was kind of stuck in the middle.
Jenner certainly didn't seem like he was in the middle. He became famous for winning the Olympic gold medal in 1976.
The guy on that day was the only person to be able to do that. And so in that way, that uniqueness is something that it makes you feel good. I mean, it makes you feel like you really accomplished something in life.
At a price for the next 40 years, he marketed that accomplishment as a celebrity endorser.
Exhale. Hi, I'm Bruce Jenner for Tropicana. Get whole wheat Wheaties working for you. Remember, there's only one Stair Climber Plus total workout system.
Then married Kris Kardashian, who marketed him, her kids, and their kids on Keeping Up with the Kardashians till their public breakup last year after 24 years of marriage. Jenner's transition took place partly on her own E-reality show, I Am Kate. On it, she indulged in all things girly.
My God, look at all this stuff.
I know. Let me see your purse.
She fussed endlessly with her appearance. There were hugs.
Everybody on Jenner.
And hugs. And even more hugs.
Cheers.
And many girlish toasts. And more hugs. But beyond the reality show conventions,
Road trip.
A larger question lurked. What is gender? What was the real difference between Bruce and Caitlyn Jenner? She still liked motorcycles and golf. She was still attracted to women.
Could it be any more complicated?
And sometimes, in painfully honest moments from her show,
oh my goodness,
she still seemed like, well, like a clueless guy.
I didn't want to communicate with you and be angry.
What would you be angry for?
One of the things I always used to notice was that Bruce wasn't as sensitive as I wished he was. I used to chalk it up to the fact that he was a guy, but I'm realizing now that maybe that's just Bruce/Caitlyn's personality.
She was a lightning rod for criticism.
Ladies and gentlemen, Caitlyn Jenner.
First for the Courage Award that ESPN gave her.
Does she deserve this award?
For what? I mean, self-definition is what you do. I wasn't aware that you get a medal for it.
Then for the glamorous style of her transition.
Caitlyn Jenner does not walk in the shoes of those young transgender youth because they don't have the means that she has.
Jenner's transition has been one of privilege.
Caitlyn?
But Caitlyn's celebrity brought new attention to the grim reality of life for many transgendered people.
India Clark is the 10th transgender person to be murdered.
40% of transgender youth have attempted suicide.
Caitlyn educated herself.
Some people are very cruel, not accepting.
It's extremely important that we're heard.
She became a champion for people who had long been pushed to the margins of society.
Maybe this is why God put me on this earth, to tell my story, to be authentic to myself about who I am. And maybe in doing that, maybe you can make a difference in the world. What a great opportunity in life to have.
Famous and familiar, she raised awareness and acceptance of transgendered people. Through her own transformation, Caitlyn Jenner transformed society this year, and that for us makes her the most fascinating person of 2015. And that's our show. Our thanks to all the fascinating people who sat down with me. To you at home, if right now you are thinking that you should have been on this list, I will say to you what I say to all my friends. You were our 11th choice. Enjoy the holidays and good night. Oh, if I have to. Do you want us looking at each other again?
That's very nice, yes, please.
On the train, you can use the phone.
That's right.
Yep.
What would you like?
I got your kids. Wonderful kids.
God, you guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I went to Paris and took a picture with the Mona Lisa. It's only this big.
Thank you.
That was as fast as could be. Thank you. Thank you, John. Good luck to you.
You too.
I'll watch you. What a list. Well, we're back with our roundup of the people we consider the most fascinating of the year. The criteria are the same as when we started in 1993. That is, 10 people who have achieved something remarkable this past year. No bad guys allowed, but people who are controversial, even shocking, are fine. And that nicely tees up our first choice. Hers is the comedy success story of the year. She has forged a bond with millions of young women and men who are struggling with dating and mating. Amy Schumer is funny, but that's not all she is, or even who she is. She is something far more complex, as I've learned.
So my name is Amy, and I'm at the Apollo.
This is comedian Amy Schumer on her sex life.
I would say 50% in the relationships I initiate the sex, and then 50% we don't have it.
On sexual fulfillment.
It's not easy to give me an orgasm. It's not fun. I have to have the focus of an Olympic hopeful on a balance beam.
On getting a guy to use a condom.
I'll be like, you're going to want to wear this. I've had a busy... Barbara.
Yes, I mean, I've seen you on the air, but you don't like your looks.
I think I make fun of how I think the world and how Hollywood sees me, which is heavier than most actresses, and I'm not a model, and I don't feel apologetic about that. I feel good naked. I feel like when I take my clothes off, like saying you're welcome.
You have been called so honest, an honesty bomb. So I'm going to ask you a simple question about sex to see how honest you are.
Bring it.
Okay. Do you ever fake it?
Yeah. I really prefer if I'm having sex with someone.
Amy explained her sexual experience in more detail than I expected or am allowed to share.
Yeah, and so I'll fake it. That's a way to say, wrap it up.
Yeah, go home. Amy's been making people laugh since she was a child. She was born Amy Susan Schumer in 1981, the middle of 3 children. When Amy was 9, her father was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Did that affect you very much?
Yeah, it was awful.
It was just confusing to me, especially the way MS works. He was in physical pain. That's when I kind of took the lead and took care of everybody in my family. I would keep everybody laughing and...
Still?
Yeah, still. I'm the one who ties it all together.
How is your father now?
He's not good. Some days he's really good and he's with it and we're joking around, and some days I go visit my dad and it's so painful. I can't even believe it. Most times we all just laugh.
Amy majored in drama in college. Her goal was to be an actress. She did her first stand-up when she was 21. She spent the next 10 years on the road, honing her act, finding her voice. Her first big break was Last Comic Standing, a talent competition.
Anybody ever date an actor? I know. I know. They're all like pretending to be straight, and it's like, okay.
She came in fourth.
Guys, thank you so much.
That led to a high-profile Comedy Central roast.
Mike Tyson. Am I saying that right? Is his interpreter here?
But being in the...
Who will top the list? And now, ABC's Barbara Walters presents the 10 most fascinating people of 2015.
Tonight, Barbara Walters presents.
I am a good person, I swear to you. Like, I'm very old school. I think the guy should always pay on the first date for sex.
I'm going to ask you a simple question about sex.
Bring it.
Okay. Do you ever fake it?
What's your slogan? Make America great again.
If you lose the Republican nomination, are you a loser?
Tracy Morgan in critical condition tonight. He was injured in a multi-vehicle accident.
I just said, wow, I survived that crash for a reason.
Beautiful. Beautiful. She's hurt. She's hurt.
Every missed opportunity has been a blessing in disguise. Every injury has helped me.
Misty Copeland making history.
When I was about 7 years old, I woke up one morning and I did this thing with my arms, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened.
Many women see you as the perfect man. You are handsome, sensitive, kind. Tell me something awful about yourself.
The 10 most fascinating people of 2015.
Month.
Amy Schumer's unique brand of raunchy feminism made her famous this year. She wrote and starred in her first feature film, the hit romantic comedy, Trainwreck.
I think we really like each other and we should start dating.
Yes. No.
She won an Emmy, a Peabody, and skit after skit from her sketch comedy show Inside Amy Schumer on Comedy Central went viral. She imagined defending Bill Cosby in a trial.
Would anybody like a pudding pop? Oh, wow, would you look at that? It's unanimous.
Parodied the movie 12 Angry Men.
Gentlemen, raise your hands if you think that Amy Schumer is not hot enough to be on television. 1, 2, 3, 11. That's 11 votes.
And ridiculed the pressure on women to look good. In fact, she often mocks herself for not looking like a model.
And like this guy just came up to me and he's like, hey, I like you. You're sturdy. Don't I feel like the belle of the ball?
You are a very good-looking woman.